everybody, it's Stacie Duffy, your Denver Metro real estate resource, and I'm reshooting this video because I just shot the whole thing and then realized I had lipstick on my teeth and that wasn't gonna work. So anyway, I thought that was too good not to share with y'all. So I'm giving it a second go without the lipstick. Yeah, I'm good now. Okay. Today I wanted to talk about agency and specifically buyer agency because I think a lot of first-time buyers don't understand how their realtor can work with them. And anyway, I'm just going to jump right into it. So here in Colorado, we're supposed to be talking to all of our potential buyers or clients in general, how we can work with them. And one way to do that is with this form provided by Dora. It's called the Definition of Working Relationships, and the brokerage disclosure to buyers, very similar to this. But it talks about, specifically down here, the green part as a buyer's agent, how we work together, and then in the orange part as a transaction broker, how we can work together. And this is important to know, especially if you are working with a realtor and they haven't talked about this with you. So make sure you review this with them, or at least ask them. But I'm going to read you parts of this so you understand. I go over this with all of my buyers when we sit down and do a buyer intro, so they understand how this process works and how I can represent them. So as a buyer's agent works solely on behalf of the buyer to promote the interests of the buyer with utmost good faith, loyalty, and fidelity, and acts as an advocate for the buyer. Down here in the bottom of the green, it says a separate written buyer agency agreement is required. So what that means is we need to spend some time together, and we have a buyer agency contract that you and I both sign, agree working together, and that you essentially sign that to hire me, and then I work for you. That's how I prefer to work with all of my clients, but especially first-time buyers. You need someone to be your advocate. That's very important in my opinion. When I bought my first house, I did not realize that my broker was, or real estate sales, because it was in a different state, but anyway, that my person was a transaction broker, and I will tell you why. So a transaction broker assists the buyer or seller or both throughout a real estate transaction by performing terms of any written or oral agreement, ... And I'm going to skip down here, without being an agent or advocate for any of the parties. And then down at the bottom of the orange part, it says no written agreement is required, which means if you're working with a realtor and they're showing you a bunch of houses and you've been working together for a while now, on and off for a month, for example, and they say, oh no, you don't have to sign anything with me, don't worry about it, I don't want to put that pressure on you. That means they're a transaction broker, at least here in Colorado, okay? Otherwise, they've got some implied agency and some other issues going on. But that's important because a lot of times first-time buyers don't want to be, they're worried about signing things. It's serious to sign contracts. And if you haven't gone through that process, it's kind of nerve-wracking, to do that. And so, but realize that that person here in Colorado is not your agent. They're a transaction broker. They don't work for you. They work for the deal. And there's a time and a place where that is the most appropriate way to work with people. I understand that. But as a first-time buyer, I don't think that's it personally. I think most first-time buyers expect their realtor to be their agent. And that's something you want to make sure. So if you've been working with a realtor or a broker and they haven't asked you to sign anything, ask them. Ask them if they're your agent or if they're a transaction broker. That's important. Anyway, so hopefully that kind of clears this up for y'all. Like I said, I'm very passionate about it. The first time I bought a house, my realtor never asked me to sign anything. I didn't know that I should have signed anything. And I kind of felt shorted at the end of it, like they didn't do a lot for me. That they certainly weren't my advocate because I wanted things and they were like, no, that's not reasonable. Not saying that no realtor should say that, but I just felt like they weren't representing me, and it's because they weren't. I just didn't know that they weren't. So I think this is very important. Anyway, if you have any questions, please feel free, leave comments down below, reach out to me directly. My contact information is on my website. I'm really passionate. I want to make sure that people understand how we can work together and that nobody has a misunderstanding or miscommunication about how they're being represented. So anyway, hopefully that answers a question for y'all. Thank you so much for your time and have a great day.